Alrighty you guys, welcome back to my channel. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Turn on your bell notifications on so you don't miss a beat when it comes to me. Today we are getting into part 2, so stay tuned and keep on watching. Alright, so now we're on part 2 of this video about the whole business situation. So part 1 was me, why I sold the business, blase. So now I had asked you guys to ask me some questions on IG about just like my business, any questions you guys had about the business, and I honestly got a lot of questions just like pertaining to the business, which I love, and honestly which I love sharing my experience as well. Like I have no problem when it comes to, you know, obviously sharing my experience. I have been in this field for 7 whole years, so like I'm sure you know, people have questions, and I feel like for people that are not also from Seattle, Washington either, they just don't realize like how high demand it actually really is here. And yeah, no, so I'm excited to kind of share like my thoughts and just answer any questions that you guys had. I'm gonna try to get to all of the questions. I kind of did get some of the same questions, so I will try to answer questions as best as I can. First question that I got was how much I sold my coffee stand for. I'm not gonna say the exact number, but I will say it was between 80K and 100K. And that's honestly truly what they go for. I feel like bikini stands they range from anywhere between, I'm like, geez, I'm like almost running out of everything because I got back stock. But I will say they range anywhere. I feel like bikini, okay, family friendly stands, I feel like obviously you can kind of sell them for like a little bit cheaper. But when it comes to bikini stands, I feel like they tend to be a little bit higher, just because they do tend to be, I feel like, a little bit harder to find like a landlord that for one wants to do a bikini, and for two, I feel like the rents, I feel like, I don't know why, but for bikini stands are always like a tad bit higher. So I feel like that is why they kind of hold that standard of a higher value, which I kind of love, obviously. But I feel like that is kind of like the main reason. It's kind of actually really hard to find landlords that would want to have like a bikini stand on their lot, I feel like. And I feel like they just obviously, you know, generate more income. I don't know if I said how much they range for, but they range. So I feel like a regular stand, I feel like kind of range anywhere from like 20K to, I mean, I guess like, I don't know, 100K maybe. But bikini stands, I will say they range anywhere from, I would say 70K honestly to 200K. Like I know stands that for 150, 160. So I just feel like it just truly depends. I feel like it depends on the individual stands and the revenue of that stand. So I feel like each location is different, and depending on where the location is. Question is, did I get a loan for my stand? So did you get a loan to open your stand? If yes, how was the process? The answer is no, I did not get a loan for my stand. I bought mine outright, and I don't really know the process of what it's like to get a loan. I know you can obviously get loans from your banks and whatnot, but from what I have heard, it's actually kind of really hard to get a loan from the bank for these coffee stands. I heard it's because like these, I don't know, like banks don't really fund them, and if they do, I think it's a long process. And so this is just what I heard. I'm not sure if this is like entirely true, but this is just what I heard. So honestly, I'm not quite sure how that process works, but from what I heard, I just know that it's a long process. It's not something that a bank approves, I guess, because I don't really know what it is. I just heard that it's just because they don't want to fund these type of things. Like I said, I don't really know how it works. I'm sure there's ways around it, but I just don't know the way. So somebody said, now that you're no longer an owner, you have sold, what are your plans as far as for coffee? Are there any? Honestly, I don't really have any plans when it comes to, like, you know, coffee stand and things like that. Like, I mean, as far as owning, I don't have any plans. My ultimate goal, like I have been saying, is to get back into real estate and just do real estate full force. Like I said, I wouldn't mind working for another company, but yeah, honestly, I just wouldn't mind working for another company. I just know I no longer want to own. Like, I honestly, truly, genuinely would rather be a worker than to own, because owning is just such a different ballpark versus just making my money and going home. I got a lot of questions like asking like, will I ever come back to coffee? I'm gonna miss you. What is your future looking like now? What is your dream job? How's YouTube for you? Let me look through some of these. I had so many. Okay. Is the newsstand of your location going to be a bikini one, or will it be family friendly? So it is going to be family friendly. So I feel like for my location, or I guess like when I knew that I was selling, my biggest thing was I wanted to sell to somebody who I knew was going to take care of it, whoever was going to take over, to make sure like they were going to also as well be successful. And I feel like that was really big for me. I didn't just want to sell to anybody, and I definitely didn't want to sell to anybody that wasn't going to take care of it, because I felt like if I sold it, I don't know, I just didn't want to sell it. My biggest thing too was I wanted to sell somebody who wasn't already in the industry and did not own like a coffee stand. Only just because when I had purchased the coffee stand, I knew that feeling of like wanting my own stand, and then like just like embarking like that new journey for me. And so I just wanted like the next person to feel that same energy that I did when I got the stand. The person that bought it, they actually were a barista as well. So, and they were honestly like kind of like an older couple, and so they kind of knew what they were doing business wise. I'm really happy for them, and I wish them nothing but complete success, and I wish them nothing but the best. I hope that they do well. I hope that my customers as well continue to support them in that location itself, because I feel like it's not just about supporting me, but it's just also about supporting that location. And if you guys know where the location is, it's like in a gas station parking lot, and honestly that gas station parking lot is very like well known in a sense of just like they have a really good like establishment of employees, and feeling like, I kind of want to say family, you know, like how it's like one of those like gas stations where like they just like know everybody. Like I feel like that's how that gas station is. Everybody that goes at gas stations know the workers, knows the bikini, like knew my bikini stand, like, you know, like it's almost like we shared the same customers, if that makes sense. How did you start the business, and what is the process like? Do you need any license / permits, etc.? Okay, so as far as permits and license and whatnot, so you need your business license in order, I mean, to have any operating business. So I had my business license. You definitely have to have like an LLC of some sort or whatever, and you obviously have to go through that process, which is a really quick process to like get your LLC and whatnot. And then you have to have you know, kind of everything as far as like kind of like figured out as far as like your name, what the business is like operating as, certain things like that. Obviously bank accounts, EIN number. I think I also had a DUNS number as well. I can't remember, but you know, UBI and all that good stuff. So that's all through the state. As far as like permits, you don't really need any like permits, I would say. My stand was already an established place, so I didn't like need any permits for anything. I had a landlord, so my landlord was the gas station owner, and so yeah, but not necessarily permits. And I feel like the only license that I really needed was, you know, your business license. You know, you have to obviously have certain things through the state, and then as well as like, you know, health department. I feel like those were just like the only biggest things, like your business license and then health department, shit like that. But no like crazy permits. Yeah, no crazy like permits or anything like that. Was there anything that you wish you could have did differently with the business? I'm also going to be doing another video as well, and the video is going to be like 10 things I wish I knew before owning a business. But I will kind of answer this question. So wait, y'all, let me answer this after I do my brows. Okay, so as far as what I would do differently with the business, I think I would have just had at least like better time management. I feel like better time management, better organization. I felt like I was just like one thing is, you really live and you learn when it comes to just life in general, but when it came to owning a small business and having a small business, I definitely felt like I was just kind of going with the punches. I didn't really have like an exact plan or organization of how I wanted to run things and how I wanted to do things. I feel like I have been in the industry for so long that I was just like, my biggest thing was I know how to make money. I knew I had the clientele. I knew kind of what I was doing, but I also felt like I didn't also have like a structured plan as far as what I was doing. So I feel like that is one thing that I definitely wish I would have did differently, is just to kind of come up with like a proper game plan as far as when it came to like the stand, how to do things, how to run things business wise, because I felt like I was a little bit all over the place. I was on top of my shit, but I could have been better on top of my shit. And another thing is, I had expanded to 2 bikini coffee stands in 1 year. So I expanded to 2 stands, and I felt like me expanding was a downfall for me. It was a downfall for me because I didn't, like I said, didn't have a proper structure and organization of how I was kind of running my business. If I could just have better managed my time and the way I managed my stand, I definitely would have did things so much differently, and I would have had my shit a little bit more together. I felt like in the beginning I had like different accountants, and I had like different people doing different things. I had like a manager, then I had like, but I feel like I didn't have like proper management and proper just certain things. Even just like when I did have a manager, she was also a barista, and I felt like I wish I would have actually just had somebody that had like an actual management background, you know, to kind of help me as a business owner, because I felt like we were just all kind of winging it together in a sense. But I definitely would have did that differently. And also I wish I actually would have never expanded. That was another big thing in my business that I actually 1000% regret. I wish I would have expanded. I wish I would have actually taken like the time with just like my one location and building that location and taking care of just that one location. But I was just so eager to expand, and I was just so eager to grow my business and expand, and I felt like me doing that was actually a really dumb business move, just because at the end of the day it was a dumb business move, because that location that I had purchased, for one, was not profitable, which I knew. And when I actually took over my second location, I made it more profitable. I believe it was only doing like, it was doing really bad in the very big, like when I took over. I think when I took over it was only doing about, I want to say like 3,000 a month in sales, and it had been closed for a long, like it had been closed for a while before I took over. And so once I took over, I did build it up. Why do you have your helmet on, honey?
I don't know. I have bodyguards on my door, so don't come in my room.
You have what at your door?
I have bodyguards.
Bodyguards?
In my room.
Please.
They're protecting whoever comes to my door. They gotta beat them up. Mom, no, I'm only allowed to come in my room. I'm the only one who can come in my room. I'm the only one. You're not allowed to come in my room.
Why am I not allowed to come in your room? First off, you don't pay no bills around here for me to not come in your room.
I pay my room to your room.
You did not pay for that room. Just because you clean your room don't mean you pay no bills around here, darling. So the next question was, have I ever been robbed? Obviously, because there are stories out there, but thank goodness I have actually never been robbed. The only situation that I've ever had was, and this was years ago when I actually first became a bikini barista, and thank God this was the only situation that ever happened. But I was closing up at this stand. So this is when I worked for a different company. I was closing up at the stand, and a person, the way the stand was, there was like a curtain, and like I was just closing up, so he probably thought like I wasn't there anymore, but I was actually still inside the stand. But I don't know what it was, but something just kind of told me like, and it was crazy because the top lock wasn't locked but the bottom was locked, and something just like told me like, lock the door. And well, I heard like noises, and then I looked in the camera and I was like, fuck, the top lock isn't locked. And so then when I went to go lock it, I ran back to the camera to see, and I literally just see him run past the stand. So I think that scared him off when he realized that somebody was inside the stand, and he just ran off. So that was the only situation I've ever had at the stand, or at any bikini stand that I've worked for. I have personally never been robbed. There was an attempt robbery though at my stand location, one of my girls. And what had happened was, so this guy was doing a walk-up at my location, and he was doing also a walk-up at another location that was down the street from my location, and apparently he had tried to rob that stand. I don't know if he actually did or didn't. I don't think he was successful. He wasn't successful at my stand either. So what had happened was, he came to the stand and he was, you know, trying to order a drink or whatever, and then he claimed that he had a weapon, but it was like in his pocket. So he was wearing like a hoodie, and he claimed he had a weapon in his pocket or whatever, in his hoodie pocket, and he basically told one of my girls to, you know, give him the cash, give him the money, and she basically pepper sprayed his ass. So he didn't get shit. Thank God for her for thinking on her feet really quick. And she said she didn't feel like she was very like she was in danger. She felt like he was kind of like still nice about the situation, if that makes sense. She didn't feel very at harm, but so she did actually just pepper spray him, and then he ran off. So that was really it. Okay, so the next question was, have you or do you deal with perverts on a daily? And if you have, what was the most like perverted experience, I guess they're trying to say. Honestly, I actually don't. Yes, I do, Carrie. I actually don't deal with a lot of perverts, like, and I think that comes with the standard of like me and the standard of my business. I feel like when you like hold a standard for your business, people are not really gonna treat you that way. Like, I felt like there is locations where I have worked at, like honestly, like Ladybug and Beehive, when I have worked at those locations, I used to get perverts all the motherfucking time. But I feel like when you have that reputation of like, I don't know, like customers and people, that's what you attract. And I feel like I kind of held a higher standard of class in a sense at my coffee stand, and I never had to really deal with perverts. And a lot of my customers, my clientele that I did have at my stand were people that I have built a relationship with and that I have known for many years. Because you guys got to remember, I came from that area. So prior to me owning my stand, I had worked at another location like 10 minutes away from that location years ago, and I was at that location for about 2 to 3 years. So I kind of built that clientele, and I've always kind of kept my social media that I had for like my barista Instagram, and so I kind of already had all the customers. And even the gal that I had purchased my stand from, she was also Asian, and me and her actually shared the same clientele, so it really just worked out. My age is too old to be a bikini barista. Honestly, in my opinion, I don't really think there's like an age cutoff. I feel like if you look good, you look good. I feel like if you look good, you look good. Do the damn thing. I'm all for like woman encouragement, woman empowerment, and I feel like if you look good, why not? If you look good, act bad. Just kidding. But if you look good, I feel like if you are up to keep with your body and your hygiene and your looks, and not even just looks, because I feel like there's a lot of girls, I will say, and actually not a lot of girls, but there are girls in the industry who I will say are probably like a little bit older, but actually there's like a handful of girls, not a lot of girls, because a lot of girls in the industry are actually young, but there is a handful of girls who are older, but they look good. They look good as fuck. And like I said, when you build that like clientele of coffee customers, you gotta think about it. Like Seattle has such like a like our coffee culture in Seattle is really big, so there's a lot of coffee drinkers here in Seattle. And so I feel like when you build, like, honestly, like, it really just comes down to like the relationship that you build with your customer. Like the relationship that you build with your customer. Like a lot of my customers were married and everything, but it's like I was never like that type of, like, I don't know, I was flirty, but not flirty to a way of like fuck your wife type shit, if that makes sense. Like I was always like, you know, like, oh, how are you and your wife doing? What did you and your wife do over the weekend? Like I had one customer, him and his wife, you know, go fishing a lot. Like, oh, how was that? They would come see me and certain things like that. So I just feel like a lot of it comes down to your personality as well, and kind of how you build your relationship with people. I'm very much like a people person, and so I know how to like steer conversations a certain way, and yeah, to my benefit in a sense, because obviously coffee for me was a really big part of my life, and I know how to, you know, navigate certain conversations, and I know how to keep it, I know how to, you know, like keep people around me because I'm likable. Okay, we're almost coming to the end with the questions, just because I gotta leave here soon. But one really good question was, how was your experience as being an owner? I felt like I kind of talked about that in my last video, but I will say from like a barista perspective, I loved it, obviously. What? But I will say I had like a really fun experience, like from a barista perspective, and just I felt like where I worked at, I had, you know, I had a really good set of girls that worked for me for one. You know, the customers made it very enjoyable as well. My hair looks not so blonde right here. Do you guys see that? It's like gold. It's like gold. Why does it look like that? Like a golden. But I definitely had fun. I obviously, you know, as a barista, bikini barista, I had fun. Well, like when it came to like making my own rules in a sense, like, you know, like October we would dress up for the whole month, do different things. I tried my best to do like team bonding as well with the girls, and just kind of trying to make it enjoyable, and like kind of like custom. It was my business, so I got to customize and do everything my own way, like being my own boss. And I felt like that was just such a really good feeling, because I am 1050% a girl's girl. And so I just knew, like, I don't know, I had a lot of fun being an owner. I loved cussing people out when I needed to. I felt like when I worked for like other owners, I always had to like bite my tongue, and I wasn't able to say what the fuck I wanted to say. But now that I was like my own owner and this was my establishment, I got to like be like, yeah, this is my shit, goodbye. Like there's so many times like where I'll never forget the one altercation I got into with a customer. Like he tried to tell me like, oh, you're never gonna be successful. Like, I don't know, I just always had haters, and so I felt like shit like that always made me like just 10 times stronger, and I always like would cuss them out. I love making people feel stupid when they try to come for me, you know. I love that. I love making people like, and even just like when it came to like, okay, I'm just gonna give you guys one scenario. So this guy had came to my stand. His drink was like $9, I think, like that, and something like that. And you got to think about it, like, I feel like $9 and for one in this economy is not that bad. For two, you're getting to see me, you're getting a friendly ass conversation out of me. You kind of get to see me basically half naked, and you know, it's almost like coffee and an experience in a sense. First off, my fucking Starbucks drink is damn near like $8. So and I get fucking burnt coffee 9 out of 10 like times from fucking Starbucks. But so I just remember him saying like, oh, you're never gonna be like this and that and blah blah blah. And I'm like, you don't know shit about my business, for one. For two, sir, nobody fucking asked your fucking dumb ass to drive to my stand. I didn't ask you to come to my stand. I didn't ask you to drive here. You drove your fucking raggedy ass car to my stand, and now you're mad. And if you didn't want to pay for the drink, you could have simply just said never mind and drove the fuck off. It's what you could have did. And so, but yeah, no, I felt like that was one thing that I really loved, and customers knew that about me. Like and I feel like that was one thing why customers also loved me, because they knew people just know I don't take shit. Like, I don't take shit lightly, and I don't fucking play around. Like, you play with me, I'm going to, I don't know, I'm gonna play with you back. And so, yeah, I will say that was one thing that I loved about having my own business, is just allowing to have like my own space, my own way of running things, my own way of doing things, being like, one thing about me, I will say, I feel like I am pretty creative, and so it was like the experience of like going through and designing my own logos. I had my own coffee beans, so I had my own roaster, I had my own, you know, and I had my own certain things, and I did a lot of my own certain things, like I said, my logo, certain things like that, and just running things a certain way, my way. And I felt like that was really, really fun for me, and I enjoyed it so much. And I just love being able to like get in my creative space of doing certain things like that. So yeah, for me, I loved my experience. I loved connecting with the girls. I loved, you know, just meeting new people every day. I love when people tell me their drink is so fucking delicious and it's the best drink they've ever had. Like, I like small things like that always put a smile on my face. I feel like I put a lot of time and hard work into my craft, and you know, into my coffee. Like, it's not about just fucking looking hot as shit. It's also about making sure, like, you know, the drinks taste good, you know, just certain things like that. So it was more than just being, it was more than just looking good for me. Oh fuck, it was more than just looking good for me. It was also about like the coffee and everything else, the experience as well, when it comes to like my girls talk, you know, my girls like giving that customer service. Yeah, look at Bubba's hair, it's getting long, honey. Nazir wants braids like really, really bad, so
I had braids before.
So he's grown out his hair. Yeah, but I had like fake hair.
But
you can't do that. You can't have fake hair, fam.
Why?
Because you're a boy. You just gotta wait for yours to grow out.
Why?
Because I say so.
The boy, he doesn't have braids on my school, and he didn't have long hair.
Anyways, you guys, that is the last question for now. My camera is about to die. If you guys have any more questions, I still had a whole lot of more questions, but maybe I'll do a part 3. We shall see. But anywho, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe down below so you stay updated with your girl.